Hello everybody, it's Shady here, and today I'm going to give my thoughts on Black Myth Wukong. So I finally had a chance to play the game. Played a couple of hours of it, and yeah, I just want to give you a quick rundown because I think it's quite an interesting game. So first of all, let's get the elephant out of the room. This game is absolutely a Souls-like, you know. There's been a lot of discussion online about, you know, whether it is or it isn't. And yeah, the truth is, it is. Yeah, obviously it has a couple of differences to your traditional Souls-like, but it basically is. So obviously, yeah, you have like bonfires essentially, where you rest and enemies respawn. You, for the most part, fight enemies one-on-one. You have these giant boss encounters. You have a stamina bar. And yeah, pretty much everything like that, you know. There's a few critical differences though. One is it has a much more sort of fast-paced combat system, more like a Neo/Sekiro. I mean, for the most part, there's none of that like input delay like you'd get in like a Dark Souls type game. And yeah, it's definitely more kind of fluid in that regard. You can't block, so yeah, unlike those other games, you just dodge. So it kind of, I guess, makes it a bit more like a Bayonetta or a Devil May Cry in that regard. That's where I think those comparisons to those games are, but it's really nothing like those games. I've heard a lot of people online trying to compare it to a Bayonetta, and it's nothing like that type of game. Yeah, you're not fighting multiple enemies and doing like ridiculous combos, and it's not about being stylish. It's definitely more, yeah. I would compare it, yeah, it's definitely a little bit kind of, you know, Neo, Stranger of the Paradise type of game, where you have like your standard attacks with the stamina bar, and then you have moves that cool down, like spell type moves, which are on a cooldown. And yeah, overall it's a good thing. And you know, this brings me on to another point that I really feel like the developers were saying it wasn't a Souls-like as a marketing thing. I think they wanted to kind of get more copies out there, so that's kind of why they said that. I mean, that's just my impression. And yeah, but you know, besides that, I think it's a pretty good game. There are a couple of other things that I think make it better than your typical Souls-like. For starters, you don't lose anything upon death, which is amazing. That, in my opinion, makes it better than a Souls-like. Also, you don't, you're not locked in to any of your abilities. You have a skill tree system. You have one lot that are like basically the character, stamina, HP, that sort of stuff, and other ones that are your moves and your stances. But yeah, you can kind of respec your character at any time. You can level up at any time. You don't just do it specifically at bonfires. You also have equipment. You can find new weapons and whatnot. There is kind of an annoying thing though, where there's no map system, and the levels are massive. There's side quests, there's all sorts of amazing content to find. You kind of really want to explore. Like, I was kind of surprised how big a game this is, even if only playing a few hours. Like, the first area, there's so many little detours and stuff you can do. So many cool little side quests and stuff. Yeah, the aesthetic is amazing. Obviously the visual's beautiful. Like I said, I'm playing on performance mode on PS5, and I've noticed a couple of little glitches there and there where occasionally my attacks won't react as fast, as there'll be this little delay with some attacks, just occasionally, and I've kind of glitched into areas once or twice, but you know, it will be patched. For the most part, it's great though. But yeah, they definitely have to add a map though for the size of the game, because yeah, I feel like it doesn't do a good job at, like, you know, compared to like Souls games, especially the Dark Souls games, From Software in particular, where they design the worlds so perfectly, where everything, you know, everything feels very signposted in a way where you'll see like a big building and you know that's where you need to go. And Souls games do a good job at letting you walk around with that map, with the exception of Elden Ring, obviously. But this game definitely needs it because it's quite big. But yeah, it's really good so far. The intro is pretty epic, where we get to see the Monkey King face off against all the other gods, and then we kind of play as this other character, who is like his reincarnation. But yeah, overall it's really good, and like I said, if you're on the fence, it is definitely a Souls-like, you know, so if you don't like those kind of games, I don't think you're gonna like this. So yeah, I'd really say, you know, maybe if you haven't tried a Souls-like, you might enjoy it, or if you don't mind faster combat type of games, like, you know, if you're a fan of something like a Ninja Gaiden or Sekiro or something like that, I think you probably will enjoy it, because it definitely feels like, well, I found with the standard enemies, they're not too difficult in comparison to a Souls game. And like I said, you will, even when you're retrying, you don't lose anything, so you level up anyway. So you will eventually get strong enough to be able to overcome this foe. And you can respec specifically for certain bosses. But like I said, the boss battles are quite tough, like a Souls-like. And I think there's 40-odd bosses as well, so it's mainly bosses. But you do fight enough standard enemies anyway. But yeah, yeah. So if you're interested, I'd say check it out. I'm definitely going to play it. I'm actually quite enjoying it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Have a great rest of your day.